Good night, everyone. Just tonight, God is good. God is good all the time. My name is Rachel Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. Um, we talking about Monica, prophesies against Ahab, and remember Ahab. I put with Elijah the other day. That Ahab was the one that killed a lot of prophets, and he also wanted to kill Elijah. And remember, Elijah was fleeing for his life. He wanted to kill himself. Because Elijah had exposed Ahab prophesizing false gods. This is the story about Monica. Is not afraid to tell the truth, prophesizing to the king what God has said. So God will put a lying spirit to entice Ahab. So God haven't forgot about Ahab. What he did to Elijah. Elijah is one of God's prophets. So God will put a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all these prophets. The Lord had decreed disaster on Ahab. So disaster coming to Ahab because he tried to kill Elijah and kill so many prophets. So 400 prophets may have been the priests that left alive in Elijah. So he didn't kill all of them. So they have 400 prophets are still alive, and Elijah escaped. So this story gonna be coming from First King chapter 22, verse 1 through 28. You know, for years there was no war. So for years there was no war between Iran and Israel. So Israel King Ahab wanted to go war, stated that it belongs to them. And sitting doing nothing. So they're sitting around doing nothing. So they want to go to war. And Israel, they just become to be besides themselves. There was God's chosen, but they just out of control. So they want to retake it from King Iran. So now they want to go to war. They just been sitting around. They haven't had war for a while. For years they haven't had no war. So now they want to go to war. But Josephat, he wants to see counsel first from the Lord. So that means he want to see one of God's prophets first. So God can prophesy to one of the prophets to give them the okay to go to war. So now remember, Ahab killed many prophets. They wanted to kill Elijah, but Elijah had escaped. So now they need counsel to go to war. King Israel is Ahab. Ahab is the king. Brought together the prophets. So he brought into 400 prophets. So many have been the priests that left alive by Elijah. Ahab killed the prophets, but we see there are 400 still alive. So Israel, King Ahab asked, should they go out to war against Galilee or refrain? So he brought in the four prophets. And so he asking them, because they go to walk. And remember Jehoshaphat, he said, we need counsel, so to see if God want us to go out to walk. Because, that's what Israel and them used to do. They was close to God at one time. Anytime they had to go to war, they had to ask God, okay, do you want us to go to war? Because if they ask God, we had to go to war, God would protect them. But if they go out on their own, then they on their own, and God will not protect them. So they brought in the 400 prophets, and they asking them what God said. Could we go out to war? So these prophets say yes. And remember, they got a lying spirit, in their mouth. So they're supposed to lie to him because see, God want Ahab. God want Ahab to be dead. Want him to go to war. So the prophets, they told him, yes, the Lord will give it into your hands. So these prophets said go. But Israel, the king Ahab, said there are one more prophet we can inquire of. But he said he hate him because he always prophesies bad things about him, and not good things. So he is Monica. So he hate Monica because he said he said he will bring him, but he hate Mordecai, but he said bring him in. You know, he wants to hear what Mordecai said. He heard what the 400 other prophets said, so he want to hear what Mordecai said. You know, so these prophets prophesied before them, and they said what the Lord said, which they are alive, for them to go out to war, and you will go out until they are destroyed. You know, now they're telling them, now you go ahead, go to war. God said you can go to war and stay out there until they all destroy. You know, so now it's all the prophets that have the same story. All 400 prophets have the same story. You know, go ahead on attack. Be victorious. You know, the Lord will give it into your hands. You know, so now the messenger who went to get Mordecai tried to tell him that all the prophets had the same story. Now he's trying to manipulate Mordecai. You know, so he's telling him all the 400 prophets, they all had the same story. You know, I need you to still be on the same page along with them. You know, I need your story to agree and align in with the other four. Now he trying to manipulate Mordecai. You know, I need your story to agree and align with the same 400 prophets. You know, so Mordecai said he only would give what the law gave him. And he telling the truth. You know, these prophets, when God talks to his prophets, they're supposed to speak whatever God gives them, not nothing else. Because if the prophet's speaking what but God did not give them, then God gonna consider them a false prophet. You see, God always anoint his prophets. And if he ain't know his prophets and they out there speaking and prophesying and telling people this and that, you know, they are false prophets. You know, so Mordecai said he only will give what the law give him. So when Mordecai arrived with the messenger, you know, they asked him, could we go out to walk? That's the first thing they asked. As soon as he arrived, can we go out to walk? You know, so Mordecai answered. Mordecai asked him, and he telling him his vision, what he saw. He said, I saw all Israel scattered on the hill like sheep, you know, without a shepherd, you know, and the Lord said, these people have no master. You know, Mordecai said, let each one go home in peace. Now he's telling them, do not go to war. Now he's telling them, he saw Israel scattered, meaning they're all going to be scattered if they go to war. You know, he said they were scattered all over like sheep, you know, without a shepherd. Telling me their king Ahab going to be dead. You know, gonna be dead, and saying and they like sheep that with no master. You know, so Mordecai told them, you know, the sheep are gonna be scattered, they're gonna be dead. The shepherd gonna be dead because he said their shepherd gonna be like no master. You know, and he's telling them to go home. He said, go home in peace. You know, so Mordecai, who predicted the death of King Ahab of Israel in the battle against Galilee. Mordecai not afraid. See, Mordecai is not afraid to tell the truth. They heard the 400 prophets. Now when they got to Mordecai, you know, they knew that he spoke the truth. They know he spoke the truth. You know, it takes results to be the one who tell two kings a different opinion than what 400 other people already told him. You know, so he figured 400 people told him the same truth, and Mordecai is the only one telling a whole different story. So he believed the 400 and not Mordecai. You know, so it's not easy to tell people something that you know they don't want to hear. You know, but he spoke what the law said, and that's what he said earlier. I'm only gonna speak what the law tell me to speak. You know, so Ahab does not want to recommend Mordecai. The prophecies about him are always negative. So he didn't really want him to comment. You know, but since 400 prophets said something, he wanted to see what Mordecai had to say. You know, so Ahab is the king of Israel. You know, he said, Justified, didn't I tell you that he never prophesied anything good about me, but only bad? You know, so he, you know, he told him earlier. He said, I hate Mordecai because he always prophesied something bad against me. You know, so he brought him in anyway to hear his side of the story. So his story was different from the 400 prophets. That old story was the same. So he said, did I tell you that he was going to say something negative? He never said nothing good about it. So Mordecai continued. His story wasn't finished. He still prophesied. He still telling what he prophesied. So he continued. Now he saw the Lord sitting on his throne with all the multitude of heaven standing around him on the right and to the left. Now who would entice, Ahab into attacking Galilee and going to his death there? So Mordecai saying he's seeing the procedure that's going on, about the lying tongue and they're putting the spirit into them. He's seeing all this shit, and by Mordecai telling him all this shit, he's still not gonna believe. So a spirit came forward after Mordecai finished talking. The spirit came forward. He will entice, and he will go out and deceive the spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. So that's how the lying spirit got to all the 400 prophets. Because you had just one person that came forward. He said, I will entice all the prophets. I will put the lying spirit, deceiving spirit in all the 400 prophets. So the Lord had put a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all these prophets of yours. So the Lord had decreed disaster on Ahab. He decreed disaster on Ahab because he calls Israel Elijah to flee. And then Elijah was thinking about taking his life and all that. God had to encourage Elijah and tell him, you go back the same way that you came. So after Mordecai finished telling them what the law says, see, his story was true, telling him what the law said. Zechariah went up, he went up and slapped Mordecai in the face. He slapped him in the face. And then he said, what did the spirit went to after I spoke to you? So he being sarcastic. Now he said, what the spirit had went after I spoke to you? So Mordecai told him to go and hide in the anchor room. He slapped him. But then Mordecai still looking out for him. He know the war about to come. He know they about to go out to war. And, they're not going to come back. So he telling him not to go to war. He told him to go hide somewhere in the anchor room. So Ahab ordered to take Mordecai and send him back to the rulers of the city. Put him in prison and give him nothing but bread and water until he returns safely. Now he reject Mordecai's message. So this man still going to war thinking he coming back safely. So he believed the 400 prophet and he reject Mordecai. So now Ahab reject Mordecai's message that came from the Lord. Mordecai spoke the truth. That Ahab did not want to hear. But he believed what the 400 other prophets said, go out to war. And when Mordecai had told them, y'all go home in peace. So Mordecai predicted their death if they go out to war. So they're rejecting him and they're still going. So they ordered for Mordecai to go to prison and Ahab think he will return back safely. He think he will return back safely. He rejected what Mordecai said. So Mordecai declared. He said, if you ever return safely, because he talking about put him in there, just give him bread and water until I return safely. So he really think he gonna be returning safely. So he disregarded what Mordecai just told him. So Mordecai said, if you ever return safely, the Lord had not spoken through me. He said, mark my word. He said, if you come back safely after what I done told you, he said, that means the Lord has not spoken to me. Mark my word. You will not be coming back safely. So they're not trying to believe nothing this man is telling them what the Lord said. So now we see that God has not forgotten about Ahab. He killed so many prophets and he wanted to kill Elijah who fled for his life. God put a lying spirit in 400 prophets' mouth to deceive Ahab, and he bit the bite. He bit the bite. Now he believes them and not Mordecai. That was the whole plan. See when God come up with a plan, he always follow through. That was the whole plan. He bit the bite. He put the 400 lying spirit into them 400 prophets. So they all story can line up together. So when Mordecai come along, he gonna automatically believe 400 people than one person. That was the whole plan, and that's what he said. All this story lined up except Mordecai. So now two. Mordecai told the truth. And if you go to war, you all will be dead. So they disregard. They disregard. He said he going to war and was coming back and say, you just put him there, get him this bread and water. I will be back. I will be back. Like the Terminator. I will be back safely. You know. Um, he ordered Mordecai to be in prison and he reject all messages and he going to war thinking he coming back safe. So Mordecai said, mark my word. You will not be coming back safely. Mark my word. So when it comes to God prophets, we have to have discernment. Now we see Ahab did not have discernment. He chose the negative spirit over the one that really told the truth. So we have to get discernment. When I first found out I was chosen, even right now, I still have to get signs from people. So I have discernment to know which prophet is telling the truth about. Because God said this and God said that. A lot of times, all prophets don't be talking to God. So you have to have discernment to see which one is God's prophet, because us chosen, we have to get signs from his prophet. So we have to have discernment to see which one is good and which one is false. So we see that Ahab did not have discernment to determine which prophet had told the truth. Just because it was 400 people, he believed 400 besides one. And that's how a lot of people is. They'll be quick. A lot of people don't like you, but you got 10 and 20 people saying the same thing about you. We got to believe it. No, sometimes 20 people can be lying. Just like 400 of these prophets was lying. And you had one person that told the truth and did not believe. So you have to have discernment, because we do have to get signs from God prophets. So we have to have discernment to find out which God prophet is telling the truth and which one is lying. So we see Mordecai told the truth and Ahab still rejected him. Because we do have to, get signs from God prophets. It don't mean you have to get it from all prophets. You got to have discernment to determine which prophet is really sent from God. Because a lot of the prophets I don't listen to. I name right offhand. But God said you got to do this. But God said you got to do that. You got to have discernment to figure out which one had been sent by God and which prophet that God give a sign to give to us. So we see that Mordecai didn't have no problem telling the truth. He told the truth of what, because he had told early on, I'm only going to speak what God tell me to speak. And so they had 400 prophets with the lying spirit in their mouth. And that was part of God's plan. And Ahab bit the bite. He believed all four, and he did not believe Mordecai, who really was telling the truth. He told them, you go home in peace. You go home. Y'all go take a nap. He told one of them, go hide in the ankle room. So they didn't want to believe none of that. They were so busy out and be going to walk. And whoever went to walk with them, after Mordecai told them you're going to be scattered all like sheep and stuff, you all going to be dead if you follow Ahab and go to walk. So whoever followed him and went to war, they all was not coming back. So we have to have discernment, because we have to get signs, from God prophets, because God do talk to his prophets like he did with Mordecai. He do talk to the prophets to give signs out to each and every one of us, or either to the world. Just like he gave to Mordecai to tell them, do not go to war. And if Ahab did, he was so evil, so he did not have no discernment. You know, he married a wife that really had started the serving, worshiping other gods that turned him on to, and he just turned out to be evil because he was already married to an evil woman, you know. So he killed so many God prophets, so God did not forget about him or what he did to Elijah. So God had came up with a plan, and it had bit the bite. So that's all the word I have for you on today. And always remember, we all, including myself, we all have to have discernment. As a divine, because so much stuff gonna be coming at us. We have to know which prophet is telling the truth of what God's giving us signs about. So we have to have discernment, because just because 400 people story might be on the same page, that don't mean that all 400 people telling the truth. Just like it was 400 against one person. All four of them story was the same except one person. So he figured, I believe the 400 and not that one. But that one person's story was the truth. He was the prophet that was sent by God. God had given him a message to give out to them. He did not give a message out to the 400 prophets. He put lying spirit in them for Ahab to beat the bite. So y'all have a blessed night, and I see y'all on the next video.